All right, let's be honest. How many of you have gone into Hobby Lobby, maybe into Home Goods? You've gone into your favorite home decor store and you are tempted by all the pumpkins. You've gotten the orange napkins. Maybe you got a little bit of plaid and you're contemplating putting out all of the pumpkins on your front porch with all of the mums. Yeah, that's fall decorating and it's coming sooner than we think. But before we do that, I want to invite you to a free workshop that I'm hosting on September 9th, 10th, and 11th, 1 hour each day, where we are diving into creating a very cozy space. And spoiler alert, it doesn't require more pumpkins. So go ahead and save those pennies because you are going to learn how to create a cozy home that lasts all year long. We are going to walk away with 3 tactical, practical tips that you can use to create a cozy space. It's the foundation I use when I'm working in my own home, when I'm working with a client, and I can't wait to share these tips with you. This, by the way, is a brand new training. So if you have been to a couple of the trainings, maybe you've been to 3 steps to creating a home you can't stop gushing about, well, this is a little different. So come on over and register by going to figandfarmathome.myflowdesk, FLODESK.com/cozy26. I'll save a seat for you. All right, let's dive into today's topic where we're talking all about one of the very favorite ways we can save money while decorating. We grew up with the phrase, home is where the heart is, but our culture has shifted and now the message is, home should be Pinterest perfect. I'm calling BS on that message. Home, it's not about the stuff, it's about the story. And whether you know it or not, your home is a reflection of you and is already saying something. So what is it that you want it to say? Hey, I'm Danny, a former first grade teacher turned home decorator. Going from a dual income to a single income so I could stay home with my babies meant budget, like ramen eating, Goodwill shopping budget. And I learned a few things along the way, like how to bring big style to your home without breaking the bank. And I'm sharing it all with you. Tips, tricks, decor, and design advice so you can learn to tell your story with your style, where you can start living free from the Pinterest perfect trap and start living a life of intention. Welcome to Fig and Farm at Home, where we design happy living and where it doesn't have to be perfect to be beautiful. Well, here's the thing. Last week, we talked about how we use the filter of knowing your feeling word for your room as a filter for making decisions. We know that there are so many decisions you can make when it's time to go pick a product. There are. And why? We live in a consumeristic society. That's why. But there are too many. It can be entirely overwhelming. It can be confusing, and it can cause some of us to just stop in our tracks, to stop the idea or the intention of decorating altogether. How many times has that happened to you where you have gone out, you've thought, I'm going to refresh this space, but you've gone to the store knowing that all you needed was a basket, you needed a candle, you needed a pillow, and you've just stopped in your tracks because there were too many choices. Well, I've got news for you. That's just the peripheral stuff. That's the fun stuff. Those are the things that are easy to slip into our basket. But when it comes to time to make decisions like paint color or choosing tile or choosing light fixtures or choosing something that's a little bit more tied to your bank account, like a couch, that is when the stress really hits, because decisions then become a little bit more costly. And those decisions are tied a little bit more to this idea of a success or not. And I don't mean it you're a successful decorator, but like, it's sometimes can feel like a gamble. I think this is going to work. I'm taking a risk, but I'm not sure how it's going to work out. I hear that all the time. I hear so many clients who say to me, I made a mistake and the reason I'm hiring you is because I don't want to make another one. Fantastic. That is a great strategy, because if you hire someone, whether it's me or someone else, you likely will have the guidance that you need in order to make the decisions
to support choices that are in alignment with your aesthetic. And when you are in alignment, you save money. There are no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You save money. I've told you this story before, but this was one of my very favorites examples of a client in the very early days of Fig and Farm at Home who hired me to come over to her house and help her with her space. And it was a really cute home. It was an older home, but it had such fun windows and high ceilings. And we got her dad in on the projects, some of the building projects, as a newly retired, needing something to do kind of guy. And as we were making some of these decisions, she got excited. She could see the vision. We were laying out the plan, and she got excited, as she should. But that excitement turned into getting her keys, getting her credit card, going to the store and buying some things that I then had to say, no, these are not it. They're not it. We need to return them. And even though that could have been a little bit annoying or frustrating or bothersome, she was so thankful, because what happened was we ended up saving money because those things that she got were a little bit more expensive than the products that I picked, but they were just not quite right. They were made out of excitement. The decisions were made out of excitement rather than the filter of, does it match your aesthetic? Does it pass the filter of, does it create the type of feeling you want for the space? And then, of course, we have the filter of budget, which is what we're talking about today. All right. These are my 5 favorite ways to save money when decorating. And of course, these are not new. These are not new ways, but I think they bear repeating, because I think we are so ingrained to think about, if I want something new, I need to go out and get it. If I want a refresh, I'm just ready to go out and get it. And I want to put a pause in that. I want to put a wrench in that kind of thinking. I want to rewire that kind of thinking, because the very first thing that we need to do in order to save money is we need to create and follow a plan. And that plan, when you work with me or you're inside of the collective, that plan is very strategic. It's following a step-by-step approach that tells you what is the most important thing in a room. And if you already have that thing, great, no worries. You skip that step and you go on to the next one. But what happens is that plan is so pivotal, and that plan relies heavily on your aesthetic and the feeling you've already created. So we've already worked through that together. But now it also relies on this idea of knowing what to choose based on what you need and not just what you want. And that's basic social economy 101, right? But it's often a place that we skip over entirely. So pack your patience and know your plan. Though that plan is going to be guardrails for execution. And if we minimize those guardrails, that is when we automatically, almost guaranteed, overspend. And then that overspending sometimes leads to mistakes, because not only did we overspend, but we're now choosing the wrong thing because we didn't use our filters. So make a plan, know what you're getting and when you're getting it, and stick to it. All right, the second thing is to know your sale dates and then pack some patience to wait for them. Again, this is fighting wholeheartedly against the consumeristic society that a lot of us live in. A lot of us listeners are in the US, and we know what the consumer market is like. So know your sales. If you like Amazon and you have a laundry list of things that you're trying to get to update your space, wait till Prime Days. If you know that you are needing a new TV for your space, wait until it's almost time for the Super Bowl. If you know that you really love or you really need a new side chair or dining room set, wait until one of those big season markers, Labor Day or Memorial Day, when furniture is inevitably on sale. Know your sale days, and if you don't know what those are, a quick Google search is going to be your best friend here. In that light, this is leading me to number 4. If you are looking for product specific, set up a Google alert. If you know that you want that Belgian flax curtain from Pottery Barn and you want to get it on sale, set up a Google alert. It'll attach to your email, and you'll get an email if and when it goes on sale. Now, this, of course, is not every item goes on sale, but it's worth a try. And now that we have AI in our corner, asking what the sales cycle is for those products that you are waiting for. What kind of sales cycle does Pottery Barn have, or Restoration Hardware if that's your store? What kind of sales cycle should I be looking out for? When do they typically have sales, and when should I be ready to shop? That is a great prompt to put into AI. Now, notice I didn't say design your room in AI and copy it. That would be, going on my Danny tangent, that would be akin to picking a Pinterest picture and copying it. And we know that sometimes when you do that, sure, it's going to spit out a great design, but it's going to also be something that is not necessarily always in line with your aesthetic. It's going to create a beautiful picture, no doubt. Same with Pinterest. We can find the beautiful pictures. That is not the problem. The problem is knowing, does it align with your aesthetic? Does it align with your feeling, the feeling word that you have for your home? And then, is it going to be an island in your space? Is it going to be a patch on your patchwork quilt of your home? So be mindful of that. All right, number 5. I think I've miscounted. Maybe number 4. Do it yourself. Yes, do it yourself. You are stronger and more capable than you give yourself credit for. And when I say do it yourself, I think immediately a lot of us picture ripping out walls and rebuilding things. And we're not doing that. We are not renovating anything. If you are renovating something, hire an expert. But when you're wanting to paint your walls, when you're wanting to hang some pictures, when you're wanting to hang some shelves, when you're wanting to change out a light fixture, these are things that you can do yourself. And sure, you might need to go to YouTube University in order to figure out, okay, how do I safely change a light fixture? How do I paint near the ceiling without getting the trim lines? But we are so inundated with resources these days that a little bit of forward thinking, a little bit of, again, planning will help you in the long run make really smart decisions and be a little bit more prepared. We don't know what we don't know, and we are not experts on things until we give it a try. So if you have never painted your home, well, let me just break this sad news for you. Anytime you have someone do it for you, you are just adding dollar signs onto a project. And that could be anything from plumbing to electrical to painting to picking product to changing flooring, whatever that thing is. When you have someone do it for you, it's just going to add dollar signs. And when we're talking about things like painting your room, that's something you can do yourself, and that's going to save you thousands of dollars. Thousands. So don't wait until that windfall that might not ever come. Learn a new skill or get comfortable with the skill that you think that you're bad at. But in that light too, I think we can have a little bit of room for creativity. That former client I mentioned, we had her build some really fun floating shelves that in this room that went, she had really high ceilings, and we had these floating shelves go not all the way up to the ceiling, that would have been silly, but we had them go quite the length of the wall so that she could display large art. It was kind of a fun way to take up that big space. And her dad, newly retired, looking for a project, he was happy to do it. He needed something to do, and honestly, his wife was very excited that we got him doing something too. So be mindful of the people that you can ask. Who can you ask that might have a skill set that might really love a project? I bet there is someone. I bet there is. All right, now we're on number 5. And I take it back. I said I had 5 tips, but I actually have 6 because 6 is my absolute favorite. But number 5, use a cashback extension on your Chrome browser. And if you're not sure what I mean by that, there are extensions you can put in your Chrome browser, which you have to download it and put it there so that it just pops up on its own. So that when you are shopping for something, it will source the internet in order for you to find coupon codes to save a little bit more money. My favorite one is Capital One, and I just used it yesterday. I was shopping for my college son who's getting ready to go back to school. He needed a few things, and it's not anything I have to enable, only the one time. So I applied it, I don't know how many years ago, We're shopping for jeans and a new shirt, or I don't even remember yesterday. We were shopping for these things, and my Capital One extension popped up and said, would you like me to look for coupons? Yes, I would like you to look for coupons. Why? Because I don't want to pay full price if I don't have to. And guess what? I saved $15. It's very similar to cashback reward cards, or, the stores have these all over the place. So if there's a store that you frequent, could it be worth signing up for their reward program? Yes, it probably is. Two of my very favorites in person are Target, where the Target card is directly associated with my checking account. But considering that Target is my store of choice when I'm buying any household goods like paper towels or plastic bags or shampoo or kitty food or yada, 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 that is an instant 5% savings. And 5% might look like $2 one trip, but over a course of a year, it looks like an awful lot. So think about what stores you frequent, and if they have a reward program. The other favorite of mine is Fred Meyer. Kroger is the brand that might be that is associated with it, that might have its own store in other parts of the country. We do pay for their, I think it's called the Boost or something like that, but it's a yearly fee, but it pays us dividends every time we use it. Every Friday when we make our order, we align our shopping with the highest possible points we can get, and those points translate to dollars saved at the gas pump, as well as a heck of a lot of savings in coupons. So if you have not used Fred Meyer, go check that out, because they have very, very generous coupons. And you don't have to be a couponer. Those, what I mean, the really fun couponers who stack and stack and stack and save and save and save. You don't have to do that, but it does provide a lot of savings. All right, and my very last one, budget decorating tip, is to buy secondhand. I say it all the time, and it goes without saying that yes, it is sometimes cheaper, not always, but the items that you have to choose from can be sometimes duplicates of the ones that are on the shelves at the Targets or the Walmarts or the Home Goods down the street. Sometimes. Other times, they're happy surprises. They are unique enough to the era, unique enough to the box store environment that we're so used to nowadays. You can find some really fun things. And of course, there are days when you go that all you find is junk after junk after junk. But there are days that you go where it seems like the skies have parted, the angels are singing, there's a little bit of light around the product, and it is a win, 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 win. The trick to thrifting and to thrifting well is to go often. That is the trick. Of course, knowing your aesthetic, you definitely need to know that so that you're not tempted to buy the thing just because of the sale price. But knowing your aesthetic is tip number one. But then go often, whatever often looks like to you. If you go once a year, you might feel a little less successful than otherwise. If you go once every quarter, okay, that's great. It's more than once a year. If you go once a month, fantastic. Now, when I was in the shop, And that was how I sourced some of my inventory, finding really fun products to create a new story for the buyer. I would go once a week and I had my little routine, and it's amazing how the product inventory changes in a week's time. It's very much like the tides. Things come in, things go out. You never know what you're going to find. It's always an adventure. Always, always an adventure. All right, friend, those are my very favorite budget decorating tips, but want to dive a little bit deeper. And I kind of gave a preview with using a cashback extension or using a cashback card. I want to dive a little bit into that, because there are ways that, we can plan until we are blue in the face. We can do our own thing until our elbows hurt. We can even thrift and only thrift, but there are times when we just might be strapped for cash, that we just need a little bit more cash in order to buy the thing. And these tips are for you, because I was you. And every once in a while, when the thing on my plan, the product on my plan is waiting to be done, I employ these in order to save a little bit of extra, in order to quicken the purchase or to speed up the project. And these were the strategies I used in order to finish my laundry room makeover on a $400 budget. Now, let me just give you that backstory so that you can know what I did in the laundry room. The laundry room is very small. You walk in and there was a triple canvas hamper and a side-by-side washer dryer. And then right above it was an inaccessible wire shelf. Do you know what I mean by inaccessible? Like, how I'm tall, but how tall were these hung? It was so inconvenient to have to reach over the washer and dryer in order to reach the shelf. If I would have been 3 inches shorter, there's no way I would have been able to reach the shelf. So there was that. And that, of course, housed all the supplies, right? There's no other shelves in this laundry room. It housed the detergent, the dryer sheets, the stain removers, the iron, you name it, it housed it. I had a garbage bin, and I also had an iron hanger. I did mount it on the wall so I could just elevate it a little bit. And there you have it. It's a pretty small space. There wasn't really room for anything else in there. And it was also a place that felt, well, it was used, of course, right? 3 boys, active boys, and 2 active parents. It was used, and used a lot. But the needs of the room changed, and I needed to have a room that wasn't housing dirty laundry. I needed it to house, quite honestly, clean laundry. The boys were getting older. I needed them to be able to get their clothes that were just newly washed, take their basket, and go to their room to put it away. So I needed a new system, and I designed a tabletop on top of the washer and dryer. It doesn't sit directly, it sits above it. I took down the wire shelves. I put up a little shelf at the back of that tabletop. I put up a board and batten wall on one side. I added a little bit of art that was just kind of fun. On the board and batten wall, I added some hooks so that I could hang any wet clothes that needed to dry out a little bit, or like swim shorts or wet rags or things that I didn't want to put in a hamper. They get hung on a hook until it's time to wash, or until they're dry. I can put them in the hamper. And then I have, right as you walk in the door where that triple canvas hamper is a tower. And it's a wooden tower with how many shelves? 5 shelves that hold big baskets. Each kiddo has their own basket. The basket at the very bottom is for things like towels, and we use cloth napkins and pillow sheets, things like that. That is where we put the only dirty laundry in that space. Everyone else has their own dirty laundry storage in their bathrooms. And everyone has their own bin. Greg and I share our own bin. So there are 4 4 bins for clean clothes. And that sounds like a lot. Oh, I also stenciled the wall. I wanted a wallpaper, but it was just going to be too cost prohibitive. So I stenciled the wall with one of my favorite prints. That's pretty cost prohibitive. And painting alone, of course, there we add $80. We add the board and batten, there's another $80 for the supplies. Paint a different color. You get the idea. It's adding up, and it's adding up quick. So doing a project like this for $400 was almost impossible. But it was an experiment I did on YouTube a few years ago in order to show any of you that it's possible when you use strategies that are, like I just mentioned, do it yourself, think about a plan, execute that plan, slow down a bit, and then some of these. So thrifting, of course. I had to, this is tip number one for getting that extra cash when you need it. I sold things on Facebook in order to use, yes, for the $400, but also exceed it. So I knew what my budget was. I knew that I had $400 for it. I didn't want to exceed that, but I kind of allowed myself that grace if I was able to sell a few things. And sell a few things I did. I think I sold $50 extra. So I ended up with a $450 budget. That can feel inconvenient to sell on Facebook Marketplace. It can. But what you need to know is that if the strategy is here and there every once in a while, it is a great place to boost some of that income where you are, where you're hoping to save elsewhere. The second thing, I didn't do it for this, but I did it to start my own business years and years and years ago. Have a garage sale. If you have not heard that story, I first started on Etsy when Etsy was brand new, and I was doing a baby boutique, making all kinds of baby things. That was my world back then. And I needed a sewing machine. So I had a garage sale. This was in the ramen eating Goodwill shopping days. I had zero extra money. So I had a garage sale. I sold $300 worth, and I bought myself a sewing machine so that I could start this little baby boutique. Your garage will thank you. Your closets will thank you. Your house will thank you when it can exhale just a little bit by removing some stuff. And the people that you're blessing are going to thank you too. All right, the third tip, and this is a little bit harder because now we're getting into a little bit more discipline, but reduce your splurge. Whatever your splurge is it going through the coffee stand once a day? Well, friend, let's do a little bit of math. I know $3 is a minimum. $3 times 5 days a week, that's $15 a week that you can save $60 a month. Did I do that math right? I did. You can save $60 a month if that is your splurge. And I know that there are not really very many $3 coffee stands these days, but what if your splurge is doing your nails? I get mine done maybe twice a year, and that's a pretty penny. Can you reduce that splurge just for a season? What about going shopping for clothing or getting your hair done? The extra treatment, whatever that is. Whatever that extra splurge is, can you skip it 1 month? And when you do, you have that extra little chunk of change to apply to something else. In that same light, this one requires real discipline. I've done it myself just as an experiment, and I really liked the way it felt. But this was a no spend month where, yes, of course, you're spending money on groceries and gas and, you're paying your bills. You're not going delinquent on those, but choosing to say, I'm not going to spend any extraneous money this month. I'm not going to buy the book from Amazon. I'm not going to go to the movies. I'm not going to go shopping at the mall. I'm not going to order that thing I really want to order. I'm not spending any extraneous money. And I wonder if you chose to do that just 1 month, maybe even 2 weeks, how much you could save in order to apply to the project that you really want to complete in your home. All right, and my last one that is kind of boring, but something we do in our own
home, and then we apply it with the Fred Meyer coupons, and we save a lot of money a month feeding 3 boys. And this is just meal planning, just being prepared to know what it is that we are eating in the week. And that preparedness, gosh, it saves us hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month. All right, friend. So there you have it. You have 11 tips for how you can use the filter of budgeting to your advantage, how you can save money, and how you can get a little bit back in your pocket in order to afford the thing that you're wanting for the refresh. All right, friend, there you have it. My 11 budget saving tips in order for you to finish that project. All right, if you enjoyed today's show or are enjoying the show in general, I want you to tell me about it. Come and leave a review. It makes me smile. I read every single one, and it's the only way I know if you're enjoying the show. You can do that on Apple Podcasts, and until next time, I will see you soon.